And welcome to Hannity, day 2 of jury deliberations in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. It is now officially in the books and still no verdict. Now, earlier today, an explosive new development from the courthouse, and it all surrounds this drone footage showing Kyle Rittenhouse shooting Joseph Rosenbaum in what looks like a clear act of self-defense. According to one eyewitness account, Rosenbaum threatened Rittenhouse, telling him, quote, "I'm going to bleeping kill you." Oh, that would be a threat. Then, as you can see right there, Rosenbaum chased Rittenhouse, threw an object at his head, cornered him against a group of parked cars, and then lunged for Rittenhouse's weapon before Rittenhouse discharged his firearm, killing Rosenbaum. Now, a new reason for a potential mistrial is that the defense team did not get this high-quality video until it was shown in court. Instead, during discovery, they were emailed a compressed, low-quality version in what the prosecution is calling, quote, a bid to undermine Rittenhouse's self-defense. This is now the second mistrial request, one with prejudice and one without, under consideration by the judge. Now, keep in mind the judge will not likely make a decision until after a verdict has been rendered. So there's a big question mark here. If Rittenhouse is found not guilty, there will be no point in declaring a mistrial. Ultimately, there are now multiple legitimate reasons for a possible mistrial, with several instances of alleged prosecutorial misconduct, including criticizing the defendant's right to remain silent, maligning the defendant's right to face his accusers, violating an order banning prior gun comments, and now failure to turn over video evidence as the law requires. Our very own Greg Jarrett, who will join us in a moment, he'll have a lot more detail on why a mistrial is a definite possibility in this case. And meanwhile, according to the mob and the media, top Democrats, Kyle Rittenhouse is already guilty. He was guilty from day one. No trial, no due process, no presumption of innocence. Just lock him up, throw away the key. According to Joy Reid over at MSDNC, Rittenhouse does not deserve the presumption of innocence because of his white male tears. What? NBC News actually said this? Apparently they did. Take a look.
In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears. Really white tears in general, because that's what Karens are, right? They Karen out, and then as soon as they get caught, it's like, green waterworks. White men can get away with that, too.
It's stunning, Katie. This feels like those cases in the 1950s where it was in and out, you know, somebody, white male, killed someone, and they were in and out fast and acquitted. That's how it feels to me.
Yikes, but there is more. Joy Reid also went on the attack against the judge and impugned his character. Take a look.
But as long as the judge appears to be tipping the scales of justice in Rittenhouse's favor, the public may not have confidence in the process or the verdict.
Well, that is a question I've had too, Kate. I mean, is there any recourse? This judge has done everything but, you know, offer to adopt Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, he seems so clearly on his side. Does the prosecution have any recourse if it seems so clear that the judge has already made up his mind that Kyle Rittenhouse, he's on his, it seems, at least to the layperson out there, that he's completely on his side?
The hysteria and anger, the rush to judgment from Joy Reid, many of her colleagues in the media mob is so bad that today the judge addressed this very issue in court. Take a look.
When I talked about problems with the media when this trial started, we were there in part, not fully, but in part because of grossly irresponsible handling of what comes out of this trial. I will tell you this. I'm going to think long and hard about live television of a trial again next time. I don't know. I've always been a firm believer in it because I think the people should be able to see what's going on. But when I see what's being done, it's really quite frightening. Frightening, that's the right word for it.
There are reports tonight that the judge has received hundreds of vile messages since this trial has begun, including death threats to his entire family. And then to make matters worse, all week long, a crowd of protesters gathered outside of the courthouse, many of them pledging to riot and commit acts of violence if Rittenhouse is not found guilty. Now, after what we witnessed in 2020, we have no reason to believe that they won't back up that threat. Now, just imagine for a second how terrifying this has got to be for members of this jury that are trying to be fair, trying to follow the law. 12 law-abiding Americans fulfilling a constitutional duty, taking it with all the seriousness they can. They now are face to face with an angry mob that in all likelihood they're hearing with their very own ears. This is what happens when powerful people in the media, in Washington, in the swamp, when they rush to judgment. And sadly, it happens every single time, over and over again, the same cast of characters. The media mob, they get it wrong, and innocent people, they pay the price. Richard Jewell, Darren Wilson, George Zimmerman, Duke LaCrosse, UVA, Baltimore, Nicholas Sandmann, the Covington High School kids, and on and on and on. Same people every single time. Americans smeared, besmirched, their character assassinated, their lives ruined, all because liberals care more about optics and a political narrative than they care about something called truth and justice and our Constitution. And I don't know what is going to happen in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse. You really can't ever judge what a jury is going to do. But from my position, based on all the video evidence, all the eyewitness testimony, this looks like a very clear-cut case of self-defense, according to Wisconsin law. And now it is in the hands of the jury. They will render a verdict. Any violence, any rioting that follows, well, you can thank the media mob. You can even thank Joe Biden, the president of the United States. He recklessly referred to Kyle Rittenhouse as a white supremacist months before the trial ever started, with not an iota of evidence to back up that claim. He's never apologized either. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.